Hey there, vinyl enthusiasts. Today we're going to be diving a little bit into Kenny Burrell and this amazing exclusive ERC, the Electric Recording Company pressing of his self-titled album. But before we begin, let's go ahead and dive into a little bit about the life and the music of a jazz legend, and that of course is Kenny Burrell, who was born on July 31st in 1931 in Detroit, Michigan. And Burrell was a renowned jazz guitarist who has made an incredible mark on the world of jazz. His smooth, blues-infected playing style and impeccable technique have earned him a place among the greatest jazz guitarists of all time. Now, Kenny started out playing guitar at an early age. He was inspired by the music of Charlie Christian and Django Reinhardt, and he pursued formal music education at Wayne State University, where he developed a deep understanding of music history and composition. Burrell's big break came through when he joined the Dizzy Gillespie Band in 1951, which really just opened up a lot of doors for numerous recording opportunities for Burrell. Now, throughout his career, Kenny has played with the who's who of jazz legends, including John Coltrane, Jimmy Smith, and Billie Holiday. His ability to blend bebop and blues and traditional jazz has made him a versatile and sought-after musician. Not only is he an exceptional performer, he's also a dedicated educator, having taught at UCLA and other prestigious institutions. So, that's a little bit of the who's who in the zoo, but let's really talk about Kenny Burrell and this standout album, which is a self-titled album released on Prestige 7088. Now, this album was recorded originally in 1957, and it showcases Burrell's extraordinary talent and versatility as a guitarist. The album opens up with Don't Cry Baby. This is really a soulful, expressive track that sets the tone for the rest of the album. Burrell's guitar work here is just both emotive and technically impressive, blending bluesy undertones with sophisticated jazz phrasing. Next is Drum Boogie, a lively and rhythmic piece that was co-written by Gene Krupa and Roy Eldridge. This track allows Burrell to demonstrate his impeccable sense of timing and his ability to interact seamlessly with the rhythm section. Then you have to flip the album over, and when you put on the first track on the B-side, it's Strictly Confidential. And this is a Bud Powell composition that really highlights Burrell's deft touch and deep understanding of bebop. Following this track, you have All of You, where Burrell's melodic interpretation shines through, creating a lush and inviting soundscape. The album concludes with Perception, which is an original composition by Burrell himself, which really encapsulates his unique style and innovative approach to jazz and guitar. What's unique about this album is how it captures the essence of the late 50s jazz scene. The recording features some of the finest musicians of the era, including Cecil Payne on baritone saxophone. You have Doug Watkins on bass. You have Elvin Jones on drums, and of course Tommy Flanagan on the piano. And their chemistry and interplay creates a very dynamic and engaging listening experience. Now, this self-titled album by Kenny Burrell is a testament to his artistry and innovation, and quite frankly is a must-listen for any jazz enthusiast, offering a glimpse into the early career of one of jazz's greatest guitarists. So whether you're a long-time fan or new to Burrell's music, this album is sure to leave a lasting impression. Now, the question that we have is, what is this whole thing about the Electric Recording Company, and is this pressing really worth adding to your collection? Before we can get into the pros and cons of this particular pressing, let's talk about the Electric Recording Company. And while we do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you some footage of unboxing this record in case you've never had the opportunity to unbox an ERC record before. So the Electric Recording Company is a label that takes vinyl reissues to a whole new level of authenticity and craftsmanship. They specialize in producing officially sanctioned heritage pressings of classic albums. These pressings are mastered from the original analog master tapes, ensuring the highest fidelity and adherence to the original sound. What sets the ERC apart is their meticulous approach to mastering process. They use 1950s Lyric EMI valve tape machines, Ortofon DS522 mono, or a DS601 stereo, depending on what they're cutting, but these are the cutting heads that they use, which were cutting-edge technology of their time. This all-valve analog process is painstakingly executed to capture the warmth, depth, and nuance of the original recordings. But it's not just the audio quality that gets the royal treatment. The sleeve artwork is handcrafted using vintage letterpress procedure, faithfully recreating the look and feel of the original album covers. Each release is limited, individually numbered edition, complete with a personally signed certificate from the producer. These albums feature iconic recordings by some of the most revered artists across multiple genres, making them a prized possession for any audiophile. Now that we talked about the ERC, let's talk about specifically the ERC in this album, and I want you to stay to the end because I have a really big complaint that I'm going to share near the end of this video. And as we were talking about earlier, the Electric Recording Company has meticulously reissued this classic album in true mono. This means that everything in the chain, from the tape head preamplifier, and cutting amplifier to the dedicated mono head, follows a single channel pathway. This early technology avoids phase issues, often encountered with today's dual or pseudo modding cutting systems, ensuring that you receive the highest fidelity. Now, this edition was cut using an all-valve 1965 Lyric system directly from the original dedicated mono master tapes with no added equalization, compression, or processing. The sleeve is made by hand, and the artwork was letterpress on a 1963 Heidelberg SB press, faithfully recreating the original album cover. Now, only 345 copies of this edition has been produced, each priced at £395. My particular pressing is number 206. The limited nature and the painstaking attention to detail make the release sort of a must-have for audiophiles and collectors alike. But the real question comes to, is it worth it? Do you really want to drop nearly $500 on this pressing? Well, let's talk about some pros and then we'll get into some of the cons. The audio quality is remarkable, offering a wide and immersive soundstage that captures every nuance of the performance. Each instrument is clearly defined, allowing listeners to appreciate the intricate interplay between the musicians. Despite being a mono pressing, the sound quality is so immersive that it feels like a stereo recording. The depth and clarity are astonishing for a 70-year-old pressing. And Kenny Burrell's music is both sophisticated and easy to enjoy, making this album a pleasure to listen to from start to finish. But there are some cons, and while this album sounds fantastic, the question of whether it's worth the £395 entry fee is a tough one. When considering what other audiophile labels like Mobile Fidelity, Analog Productions, Impact Speakers Corner, Sam Records, Classic Records, and I can go on, they all offer a high quality pressing at a much lower price, which starts to make the investment of this record's cost hard to justify. I mean, when you think about it, the cost of this album is equivalent to about 3 UHQR pressings from Analog Productions. And for many collectors, this price is steep, especially when other high quality audiophile pressings are available for around 100 to 150 US or more. Now, my listening experience was on a Riga P10 with a Hana Umami blue cartridge using a mono switch on the Parasound JC3 Plus preamp. And while this setup is capable of appreciating the finer details of audiophile pressings, it does fall short of what a dedicated high-end mono cartridge would offer. Therefore, my assessment might be limited by not having specialized mono setup. With that said, the audio quality of this pressing is comparable to some of the best UHQR pressings. The sound is so good that I momentarily forgot that it was a mono record. However, the high cost of this pressing is a constant reminder overshadowing the exceptional audio quality. So when it comes down to it, is it worth it? Well, for the casual collector or jazz fan, the short answer is no. The value proposition just simply doesn't justify the cost. However, for our diehard Kenny Burrell fans, this pressing offers an unparalleled sound quality that just makes it worth its weight in gold. For those with a dedicated mono hi-fi setup, I think you would likely appreciate this record more than those using stereo cartridges and relying on their preamps to convert the signal to mono, like me. In the future, I do hope to have a dedicated mono setup to fully experience this album and others in their all-out full glory. For now, while I love the album, the high cost and comparable quality of more affordable audiophile pressings make this a challenging purchase. Now, this isn't a knock against the Electric Recording Company. I know there's a lot of ERC fans out there, and mostly what you read on the internet is superb about the label. In fact, I have no qualms about buying this. I enjoyed the album, and I have pre-ordered more albums from them, including the reissue of the Stooges Funhouse, which is done in stereo. And if I'm right about my suspicion that my current hardware setup is influencing my opinion, well then I look forward to seeing what the ERC delivers on a stereo record, which of course my system can handle with no question. So definitely looking forward to that, and I'll share my thoughts and opinions with you at the end. So the short of it is, super fan, love audiophile pressings, have a great mono setup, great record to add to your collection. Casual jazz fans, the average Kenny Burrell fan, don't really have a fancy setup, probably not worth it. You can build a better collection investing that money somewhere else. Maybe get yourself a nice box set with some of your favorite jazz artists, or by your favorite jazz artists. Now, with that said, there is one thing that I wanted to share with you that was a little bit of a bummer. Despite the ERC's impeccable packaging, which they do this layered approach of adding these layers of cardboard on the top and bottom of the record, they don't protect the sides. And I was quite disappointed, as you saw in the unboxing, to get a split seam. It seems pretty crazy that a label that's boutique as the ERC is not shipping their records outside of the sleeve to prevent split seams. Now, I will give credit to them. They are going to send me a new sleeve, and I asked for a new obi, but they didn't confirm that they're going to send that yet. So I hope that that arrives, because that also got damaged. And all of these are handcrafted, and this is a case where the obi is gorgeous. I really do love the look of the obi. I just wish that it would have came fine and perfect the first time. So I'm a little bit disappointed, because we talked about the price of the record, but it's also quite costly to ship that record to the US. I would have loved to seen a little bit better protection on the outside. So there you have it. That's my thoughts about the ERC pressing of Kenny Burrell. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll tell you what, why don't you go grab yourself another cup of coffee, and I'll see you on the next video.